This brush for me is my go-to brush for a lot of different finish work, whether it's on straight hair, it's curly, wavy, what have you. This is the one I normally go to first. This is the one I do not let you borrow in the salon. Like, get your own. All right, but I do work with these. Right. So next, we want to go through and take our section. I'm going to start this sectioning, by the way, here up top, right?
No, go ahead.
And the sectioning here, a couple quick tips, right? And then Corey's going to jump into this. First, I want to take this hair, take the brush, and I want to put it right in the base and pre-groom the section. You ever gotten a brush stuck in the hair? Mm-hmm. Right? You ever gotten a brush stuck in the hair and just ignored it? Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I don't know. So you're just like, I'll come back to it. Right? You're like, oh, so what you do last week? Oh, how was your dinner? Right. So first things first, if the brush got stuck in the hair, it's because the hair was going like this. Right? And then we just decided to put a brush into it and then make it dry. Right? And we dried that curl or that kink into it. So first things first, pre-groom the section. Take your brush and treat it like it's a roller. Place it into the base. Right? So we call this setting. Right? So I want to set this almost like beauty school. Set it on base, off base, half on, half off, over directed, you know the deal. Right? Next, because I've got this much longer brush, I'm going to take the brush and then wrap it around that rest of the barrel. What that does is gives me this tension. Right? So that tension with the heat and then all the properties I'm going to tell you about that are inside of this brush make this straight and smooth and also can give me volume when I want it. So here's our thing. We like to start and work in this method. It's called set, lock, and lift. Say that with me. Set, lock, and lift. Do it one more time.
Set, lock, and lift.
That's right. So when we do that, we want to set the brush first, lock that in like I did, and then lift it away from the head form. Now the way that we lift it is you can lift this up, you can lift it down, you can lift it out, but we're lifting away from the head form. Does that make sense? Did I make sense for that? So here's the other deal. As we move, I also want to work always from the scalp to the mid-strand to the ends. So if I work in that fashion, I'm always going to be taking the moisture and pulling it out of the hair versus going back towards the scalp. One of the cool things I like about our blow dryers is they have 10-feet cords. Okay? You ever get stuck around your chair? Yeah, no? What's that? Don't you hate that? Yeah. It's like, what's going on here? So, these, our blow dryers have 10-feet cords so you can walk around the chairs and things like that. Corry calls them the freedom cord. You've got a lot more freedom to work with it. Again, working all the way up, it's always a good idea to pick the brush bristles and get them on the opposite side of the hair so that we can give that some love too. Right? Then get out to the ends. Work our way down. Give that a quick cold shot. That's a good idea. And then look, it's just as important that the way you put the brush in, that you take the brush out by unrolling it. Right? Don't rip it out. That gives us frizz on the ends. Right? This is how we keep the ends. We also then like to take our hands, go through, and working horizontally across the top, and just keep moving. So now, I've got the next section. Again, pre-groom that section. Place the brush in, set it, lock it, and then I'm ready to go. Right? Questions that you have so far? Yeah.
Is there a reason you start on the top?
Ah, good question. Really good question. Is there a reason why I want to start on the top? Any thoughts on that? Boom. So yeah, so it sets there longer, right? It cools a little longer. Do you know how long it takes for hair to cool down after you heat it up?
20 minutes.
Yes. Oh, give her a hand. She said 20 minutes. Yeah. About 20 minutes. It can take anywhere between 17 and 20 minutes to cool, right? Show of hands, that's like a high number that you didn't know. Yeah. Some of us think it only takes like a minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds. It actually takes about 17 to 20 minutes. So that cooling time is what makes this set. That cooling time is what makes this stay. right? And it gives you the volume that you're looking for. If you go shorter than that, then it's probably going to be shorter volume. It's going to be less long-lasting, right? Awesome question. Yeah. The other reason why you like to start at the top is, quite honestly, Corey, you want to get in on this? Is that think about this when you're blow drying, right? When do you have the most energy in your blow drying? Beginning or the end?
The beginning.
Beginning, right. In the beginning, right, it's called a state change, by the way. Like, so if you're coloring hair and then you're done and you go to cut it, right, your body gets this influx of energy. It's like, oh, something new, right? So we're like, yeah, this is fun. And then by the end of the haircut, you're like, right? So then you start finishing. Again, you get another state change. So your body gets a jolt of energy. You're like, cool, something new. So why not take all that energy and you put it to good use, right? Start in the front, start in the top, start in the sides, whatever you're going to need to really showcase it. I mean, by the time you get to the back, you're like, girl, I want you gone. Get out, right? She can't see it anyway.
Please, we'll really set this up.
Social media will get you. Smile. Not getting caught. So, surfboard clip, this goes in and bang. Really quick tip, the short cord is going to keep rocking because look, sometimes you might be a little bit, or you need to, sometimes, anybody here vertically challenged? Okay, good. Wasn't, you know what I'm saying. All right, so, and you feel like, yeah, you know what I'm talking, you feel like you have to jump, you're like, come here, I'm going to blow dry you. Right, so, quick idea, because look, Ergo, by the way, is short for what?
Ergonomics.
Ergonomics. So, ergonomics means, look, the relationship of your body and your tools in which you're working in the space that you're working in. So for us, if we're always like this, does this look comfortable?
No.
Right? Not so much. So if I can, you know what I ask my clients to do? Look at the ceiling. Right? Everybody look at the ceiling. No, okay. So look up. Like look at this. You guys just look at the ceiling. You're like, right? Like something's gonna happen. We're like, look up. So look, as you look up, the top of your head comes. The top of their head comes to the center of your body. It gets closer. So your arms aren't so far up; they get relaxed.
Yeah.
Right?
So
So it's a
instead
lot
of
better.
working from here, just have them look towards the ceiling.
Juices.
And now my shoulders, my elbows are down, so I'm not going to be, wasting as much energy. Because I mean, this gets kind of exhausting over time. So by bringing it closer to you, just looking up, you're going to lower the angle of your arms by a few degrees, and you're going to be more comfortable. I mean, ultimately, we want to work with our elbows down and as comfortable as possible. I mean, this is just holding this all day. It gets heavy, right? So another thing I like to do is I'll stand to the side. If you ever feel uncomfortable, move one side or another. One step could change the entire way your body's reacting to what you're doing.
Definitely.
You know how I like to remember that?
How's that?
Who here likes dinosaurs? I like dinosaurs.
Everybody likes dinosaurs, right?
I think about, a pterodactyl, it's like up here, right? It's flapping all day. You know those wings are getting tired, right? We want to be a T-Rex. We want to keep everything right here.
I like it.
All day.
I like that.
T-Rex, not a pterodactyl, right? I like that.
T-Rex.
Good. Other questions that you have so far? Yes.
So with like long, thick hair, you just got them back from the shampoo bowl and you do towel dry, but their hair is still, pretty wet.
Yeah.
Product in. I usually like 50% dry the whole thing and then section.
Do a little
If
less
it's
right
real
here.
wet, I feel like if you do little sections, it just takes forever.
Yes, totally legal.
That's the better.
In the state of California, you're still going to do that. So here's the thing. I would suggest you just do, we call that pre-drying, right? Anybody else do that as well? You get started getting some of that moisture out? That's totally legal again. So what we like to do is work with a polishing pattern, right? Because as the hair goes from wet to dry, my belief is you can do absolutely anything with hair, right? Anything. But from wet to dry is your sweet spot normally. Once it's dry, you've got to turn up the heater, you've got to use other tools, right? I know you do some banging hair, so I know what you're talking about.
I learned it from you.
What's that?
I learned it from you.
So if you're going to dry the hair in that fashion, have some control with it, right? So we recommend that you use like our polishing paddle, right? So the polishing paddle, you can put your product in, give it a little bit of direction, right? If you want volume, go up. If you're smoothing, go down, right? Get some of that moisture out. If you need direction, go in that direction that you need. Very awesome. Yeah, so go in the direction that you need, right? But you do use a polishing paddle just to give you some control. That will still speed things up. What happens, or what I've seen around like a lot of salons, is that when people do that, they do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Rough
They
up the
shake, rattle,
cuticle.
roll. And while the hair is going, okay, but when to dry, it starts getting busy. And when it's getting busy, it's getting frizzy.
Yep.
Right? So the more it moves from when to dry, the more frizz can come in. Right? So this brush, by the way, which is our polishing paddle, we have two of them. This one actually has some amazing features to it. One of them is that it has a silicone non-slip grip. So it's great for if you can work with it wet or dry. If you are a salon that, or you work with products that you like to comb through, or conditioners or treatments that you like to work through, you can use this. It does it really easily.
It's like 100 times better than the wet brush.
Yeah, it's
I
way
threw
better.
away all the wet brushes, like 100 times better.
One of my stylists brought one in and I like hit it. I was like, girl, look at you.
No, it's way better.
Like, get that out of here. So, and by the way, we retail all these too. So we want clients to, we use what we want clients to purchase. Right, that's simple. So both salons are staffed with all these brushes. Right? So I make sure that everybody has them so they can use them, love them, and then retail them. Right? But yeah, this brush, again, it has a silicone non-slip grip. It's awesome. It's wide. The cool thing about it that I like is several things. One, see the pins on this? But notice up close, they're in a row like that. Oh? Mm-hmm. They run vertically like this. Yeah? So vertically, what that means is that you can get through this really, really easy if the hair is in, or you're trying to detangle like a wet brush, right? And just simply work your way down through the hair like this. In fact, Sydney, my daughter, her hair is like both like this. Like her hair is huge. It's really, really curly. I'll show you a picture. Her hair is humongous. And Sydney being 10, I'm like, yeah, start taking care of your own hair, right? Anybody have children with curly hair?
Oh, yeah.
Or your
Oh,
own?
yeah.
Yes, right? So it's a job, man. I remember when she was really little, I used to have to get in the shower with like swim trunks on and stuff. And we were like, okay, let's get the detangling, right? And just get through it. It's a lot. So I started working with this brush with her, and now she knows to turn it vertically like this, so that all the pins are lined up. Start at the bottom, and then work her way up, and then her hair detangles like that. Right? And then, like I said, her hair is huge, man. It's got like its own zip code. It's big, right? The other thing that's neat about this brush is when you turn it horizontally, what do you know that's different about the brush now? Look at the pins. Right, they're not vertical. You win. Right? You win. My girl, high five to you. She's like, duh. So yeah, they're not vertical. Also, they're horizontal and they're brick laid. So they're staggered. So what that does is when you're blow drying really long hair, or you're blow drying, you need some tension, or if you're wrap drying or pre-drying or whatever you're doing, now you've got enough tension to make that happen with this brush. Right? It also has a really cool feature that I like, and that is these balls on the ends are part of the pins. Right? So they're not going to fall off. Well, I remember my first brushes ever as a professional. All the balls came off, man. And I was like, ah, and it was a little scratchy, and it wasn't so fun. So these, they won't go anywhere. The pins have the same technology, which is inside of our round brushes, which I'll show you in just a minute. This also has a port right here in the end, and a port that's in the pad. So when you disinfect them and clean them, because we all clean our brushes after every client.
Yes.
I know y'all.
It's very important.
It's important. Yes, exactly. So when you clean these and submerge them in water, you ever have like water stuck in the brush?
Oh yeah.
And it's like, come on, you know? So what happens is this port here and this port here allow this to drain if you hold it like this. right? And this will drain in 60 seconds.
Awesome.
I tested it 50 times in a row. Seriously, I want to check it. And timed it, go. And it was empty in 60 seconds. So, no, it works. Here, you guys can pass it around so you can see it. Okay, so give it back.
At least no one of us had it.
I know.
You spent 50 minutes doing it?
Yeah. No, I did it 50 times.
See how slow it took me to figure that out?
Hey.
You did the math.
So our round brushes, by the way, I mean, first of all, what do you know about these round brushes that's physically maybe different?
Got longer barrels.
They're longer, right? Anything else that you notice about these brushes?
Handle's longer.
Yeah, the handle's longer too. Right?
grip?
Feel the handle.
They're lighter.
They are lighter. You guys are hitting all the right keys right here, right? So these were, yes, Heather.
They're even on both sides.
Aha! They are very balanced. Exactly, they are balanced and they're even on both sides, right in the center. That's where the center is, right from left to right. Yes.
The top is like recessed.
Yes. So you notice the cap? It's in the barrel. Right? You ever did this deal where you blow dry and you go, right? And you rope it out or whatever, and you get hair stuck in it. Yeah, and you're like, oh, girl. Right? So that, it won't happen with these because the cap's in it. Awesome. I feel that. Right? So they are longer and they're even. They are balanced. Right? They're lightweight because the barrel is actually aluminum. So the barrel is much lighter and it's very, very balanced in the hand. The last part of it is the handle. Feel that handle. Right? It says the same silicone non-slip grip. So what's awesome about this is that it won't fly out of your hands. What's awesome about it is that you feel the grippiness of it, right? So it's going to have a little more texture and grip when you hold it, right? So no matter how waxy, goopy, gunky, jelly your hands get,
He's going to show it to them. Our students use it.
What's neat about it is that,
You guys want to see it?
or what I really love about the properties of the brush is the bristles, right? So the bristles, actually feel this bristle, feel these bristles for a second, right? Feel it a little bit firmer, right?
Yeah.
When they're cold, yeah? They feel a little firmer, right? So I mean, anytime I share one of these brushes with somebody, I put it in their hand, they immediately do this. I don't know what that test is, but everybody does it, right? It was like, I'm like, okay, did it pass or what? Right? So you felt how firm those are, right? So that's what you're feeling. That firmness is, first of all, two of the products that are in these bristles. One of them is nylon, right? That's what they are. The other ingredient that's in these is actually carbon, right? Now carbon gives it its muscle, right? So I mean, just by a show of hands, anybody ever melt a brush?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So have you ever seen a brush get melted? Right? Yeah, so it was like, it turned into like the Wicked Witch of the West. It did like, it just crinkled up, right? So it's either because a lot of heat, most likely because they have the barrel right on top of it, right? So what Corey's going to demonstrate for us is this. Well, the muscle that you feel and the nylon is one thing, but the third ingredient is actually a tourmaline. Has everybody ever heard of tourmaline? Yes? Okay. So Corey's heating up our bristles, and when you heat them up for at least 6 seconds or more, you'll feel this change, right? Count to 6.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, we got there.
Okay.
Right? So now, when you feel these bristles, feel it now. Right? They change. They're not the same. They're not as firm. Right? So what's activated now is that we soften up the nylon by using it with the heat. And we've also activated the tourmaline so that these babies are ready to go. Right?
No, you're okay.
So we have, by the way, in our portfolio, we have currently 5 round brushes, right, for different jobs. We have our go-to out there, our workhorse, the 43. One of my favorites for volume is the 53. And by the 53, the numbers are on the inside, the recessed cap, so you can see them. And down at our booth, you can come and see them, come and try them out yourself, right? And work with them, and then you'll know how they work. We also have for curl, for either taking curl out or putting curl into the hair, we have our 33. This one's also a favorite of mine, especially in Brooklyn. We get we get every kind of hair you can imagine, like Chewbacca will walk in on a blowout. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like, get in there, right? This one is Bitty Baby. We call it Bitty Baby, and everybody's like, what do you do with this? I'm like, a lot of stuff, actually. This is great for a lot of different textures, for short hairs. It's one of your favorites, right? Actually, you should probably show them how you like this. And then, also, we have Big Daddy. Right? Hey, sometimes you gotta get done, right? You know what I'm talking about? I'm late. This bad boy will get the whole side of their head. Look at this thing. Get that Oprah blow dry. Get everybody in one shot. Also, we have, and this is this is my baby right here. This is our newest collection, our newest additional brush to our collection. It's called the Diamond Head. And the Diamond Head is actually, it has a unique shape to it. It's somewhat like a diamond. You'll notice that it's not a square, it kind of turns in slightly and then across. And the reason for that is that we notice a lot of shorter looks coming back into fashion, right? So we want to get in there. I'm looking at Heather's hair, I love your haircut. And I love this is great for those wedgie type of finishes, for bob, for wrap drying, all those things. If you're working on fringes, perfect, right? If you need to get back here in the kitchen, perfect. Get cooked, yes, get back in the kitchen, get cooking, right? So if you got shorter hair, look, Big Daddy is not going to fit in the kitchen, okay? Don't try it, right? You got to use the right brush for the right tool, right? That's step 3 in our method, choose your weapon, right? Choose the right weapon. So we wanted to make sure we had a brush that was angled, that you could get into different areas. Good for guys too. Right?
And you can put a light wave on it in a pinch. I like to use it through the sides. You kind of pre-dry that side, and then you can just take the hair because of the pin alignment. It creates tension. So we have that intentional pin alignment. Shannon was talking about with the other brush, how you can detangle with it using it vertically. And when you use horizontally, the brick leg, what that does is it gives you some light tension. And using it vertically, you can actually turn it kind of like you'd use a round brush, and it would create a nice, like, loose wave, so you can give light to hair in a pinch if you need to.
Speaking of waves, like I said, those Instagram waves are very trying to make really quickly. But so if your hair is straight, here's a quick idea. Take this section. Is this section horizontal or vertical or diagonal?
Vertical.
Vertical. Everybody say vertical. Vertical. Okay, vertical, right? So I'm also going to take the brush. I'm going to go down, take the 33, right? Take this, elevate the hair, put your brush in, right, and give it a twist, like that. Right? When you're ready, look, heat this up. You ever turn your blush on, looks like nuclear?
Yeah.
Right? You're like, get it done! Yeah. Actually, it's better to go a little slower, right? Go a little slower, like Riz. Right? So look, I'm going to stay close to the head. I'm just going to ratchet this hair back into the head. So I want to go get some hair and go back to the head. As we do that, the brush should almost touch, right? Go get some more hair, and then go back to the head. Right? Keep your heat on, but the heat's going around the brush. It's not staying right on it, it's just going around it. So I go get some more hair and go back. Right? Because of the unique length of these brushes, I can take a lot of hair. Right? Because it's a much longer brush, I can take a longer, wider section. I get done a lot faster. Right? So here, I'm going to heat that up, cool it down slightly. Put this in my clip. Look. Unroll this section, don't rip it out, unroll this section, re-broom it again, there's your curl. Done, right? So you do those quickly. If you want to make sure that it stays and it's a little longer lasting, what are you supposed to do?
Clip.
Clip it, right. All you do is simply pick it up from the bottom, take your clip, place it in, let it cool, right? So one of those things, these clips are saving a lot of my clients a lot of their finish work, right? Because you guys probably have the same issue. What do clients do as soon as you finish a section?
Start touching.
Who told them to do that? Right? So as soon as you finish the section, especially in the front, right? Especially in the front, as soon as you take that brush out, they're like, right? They start playing with it, and then what they don't understand is that if you start moving that while it's still warm, it's going to wreck the set, right? So it's not going to last as long. So just like Corry did here, as soon as you get finished with a section, wham, put a clip in right away, right? And clients are like, they don't know what to do with clips, so it's like kryptonite. They don't touch it, right?
And if you notice when I was working on the top, I was combining those sections.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we're setting hair, it kind of gets in your way a little bit. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
So it's totally okay to combine the sections together as one, as long as you're setting it up there. So it's still cooling in the shape that you're creating, and now it's out of your way so you can still work clean.
Right on. Anybody curious what's happening right here?
Yeah.
I know, right? Well, Chris wanted to take some time just to get started, and then you can start to see all this come together. So in our program called The Art of the Big Finish, we look at creating different textures, different movements, and things like that. So I've seen some award-winning photos that I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, but I was like trying to break them down, figure out how to do it, recreate it. And what I've seen lately is those curls that are crimped. Right, have you seen that? Right, it's pretty fun. That's normally a two-step process, right? Where you crimp it, and then you go back in, and then make it bend and twirl and twist. What we figured out is that with our Ergo mini crimping iron, what Chris is demonstrating here, we call these Medusa curls. Say that? Medusa curls. As these come together, she starts looking like Medusa. And you see all these different highs and lows and reflection from the crimps. So tell us what you're doing, Chris.
Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm taking the horizontal sections across the top, and the most important thing before you get started with crimping is you want to make sure that your section's not too thick. So like a good rule of thumb that you can use to make sure, is just kind of take the section, hold it up, and there's this little like Ergo logo right here. If I can see the Ergo logo through the hair, then I know that it's thin enough and I can proceed. So I'm just going to start right at the base. I'm going to crimp down. And I'm going to take little bites, just little nibbles, and kind of turning it a little bit, and just working towards the end. I like to use two hands with this because you get a nice even crimp across. And you can't do this with any crimper. I've tried, and a lot of crimpers get like really hot on the outside. I can actually touch this. I mean, it's not burning my hand, which is amazing.
Cool. You keep on going with
Yeah.
that.
And then, you know, you can tease them a little bit, break it up, get it as wild as you want.
That's awesome. One of the things that we like to do at Ergo is talk about, and first of all, do you have questions about what you're seeing that's happening right now?
I do. So you're crimping and then you're rounding it with the same iron, correct?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
This one's totally straight, and then I'm just going to get in, start at the bottom, and I'm just slowly turning with each little nibble that I take.
Yeah.
And I like to make sure the sections aren't too wide or else it can be kind of hard to control. Right. And the skinnier the section that you take, or I should say the least wide section that you take, the more tendrily it's going to be.
Okay.
Right. So this is a technique we feature in our class called The Art of the Big Finish. Again, we're doing two steps but in one, right? And we're doing it pretty quickly, as you can see, right? At Ergo, we like to look at hair a little bit different. Is it okay if we share with you how we look at it? All you do is take the bungee cord, right? So this is probably a little more on that finer side. I try not to tell clients that they have fine hair because they already know it, right? So I tell them, look, your hair feels like silk or like satin to me, right? And they go, okay, I get that. Sounds a little nicer, right? Can I have the yellow one? Yeah, for all of them actually. Okay, thanks. So this fabric, feel this, it's a little bit different, right? What fabric would this be?
Yellow.
Yeah. Somebody said that once, dude.
I know.
So, you were there.
Chicago.
So we were doing one of our programs in salon called The Art of the Blow Dry, and so just held this up and I was like, "What fabric is this?" And the young lady was like, "Yellow."
She was eager too.
She was for real about it. She was like, "Yellow." Right, real. Yeah. So here's the thing. Answer this question: does satin feel like cotton? Are they the same?
No.
No, they are different. We got to treat them different. We have to have different techniques, right? Different methods, if you will, to make them and manipulate them and have them be the way the client wants, right? Oh, maybe.
I like to think about is, you know, I started wearing dress shirts when I started with Ergo, and I've never used an iron in my life before. And when I'm ironing, I created these shiny spots. Have you guys ever done that?
Yeah,
What
it's
was the
burning.
reason for that?
Too hot?
Too much heat, right?
Yeah.
So that fabric started fusing together. I thought I could just like wash that out. Turns out you can't. So I had a shiny bodied shirt for a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, I've had that too.
But
Yes,
it made me think about hair. Like when we use too much heat on the wrong texture or on certain textures, we're going to damage it. I mean, we're doing the same thing to the hair that we just I did ironing.
Exactly. A lot of times it happens with like different fabrics like this, right? You ever had this girl in your chair? Yeah, like ShamWow, right? Mess. They're like, what did you do? Right? So you get fabrics like this, it's bad news.
Water hits it?
Oh, if water hits this, it's like into her head. You're like, oh my gosh, what happened? It'll be all right. Get the treatment out. Yeah. Get the secret potion for her hair or something. Right? So this is what happens. Because first of all, we're doing a lot of cool colors now, right, in our industry. We're doing a lot of brighter colors, which is fantastic. But that doesn't happen straight out of the bottle normally. So we've got to do what? Lighten it. Right. Sometimes our hair is getting really, really light. Or some of the lightening, some of the highlighting and balayage that's happening. You know who she is. You got a client, you balayage her or you highlight her. She's like back in 3 weeks. You're like, weren't you just here? She's never blonde enough, right? So she ends up like ShamWow, right? So just like Corry was saying, if you use too much heat, too much tension, you click your blow dryer on like nuclear or kill them, right? And you use like this brush and you're like putting a knee in the back of their head. Something's gonna happen with this. Pow, okay? It's gonna snap. So it's all about the fabric, or like this, oh yeah, like this one, like denim, right? Denim, this is one where, just like you were saying, people like to kind of go, oh, I'll just turn everything up hot, right? And this fabric, this is the first fabric I ever worked on, in my mom and dad's salon, right? My dad's in Baltimore, he's 83. Turned 83, he's 83 years old this month, and he's still doing hair.
Good for him.
Wow. Guy's a warrior, dude. And so he taught me really early that this is just a different texture. It's a different fabric, but you can't overdo it. It's not bulletproof, right? And it will break and it will haunt you if you give it too much heat, right? So it just needs thinner sections and you can get a totally different result, right? Yeah, I like it. Oh yeah, oh, look. Her? Yeah, you ever had her walk in?
Oh my God.
She's here. Good night. You just start praying. This is not going to be good. No, so you just need, again, thinner sections, right? The right amount of heat, right? And then also just be gentle with it, and it will change the way this fabric feels, right? So at Ergo, we like to think about hair as a fabric, so that we take we're now treating it in a different way, right? Another thing that we really like to think about, what she showed, oh dude,
I want to
yes,
add a little bit more about the texture iron before I move on to the smoothing iron.
Yeah.
You get people with really fine, limp hair and they have problems with volume. Well, a lot of you probably already know the trick where you can just kind of crimp the bottom to get volume. But another trick that you can do, especially for updos and stuff like that, I call it click and drag. You're just going to click with the texture iron and you're just going to drag it. And what it does is it puts little micro crimps in it that you can't even see from far away. But it just thickens up all the hair all together without using even any products really. Just click it and then just drag at a consistent rate. Then I'm going to show you another trick with the smoothing iron now. When you close this thing, it's round all the way around. Most irons are kind of squarish and those corners kind of cut into your hands. Not very comfortable, right? Well, the way that this is designed, whether you have a small hand, a large hand, super comfortable in your hand, it doesn't get too hot. And also most irons have springs underneath the plates here. So you're not getting really even tension all the way across. There's a spring here on this end, and then a little bit in the middle right there. And as we iron, that steam from the products in the water gets underneath and it corrodes those springs, so they lose their cushion and they lose their bounce. And what sets ours apart is we actually use the same material as our Ergo hot mat right here. It's a silicone, and we use that so there's consistent cushion underneath the whole plate, so it's not going to wear out, it's not going to corrode or anything like that, so it really does last long.
That's awesome too. I mean, think about it. And did anybody know that, first of all? Did anybody know that? Have you seen the irons that have that spring units to them? Did you know that those are springs under there? Right, so that's new for everybody, but ours has the silicone, like Chris was saying, which lasts a lot more time, way longer, right? I mean, our tools are expensive, right? It's an investment. Like when somebody wants to borrow something, we're like, you need to sign this, right? Because if it breaks or it leaves, I need it back, right? So it's all about the investment. So Ergo is committed to really making sure we have quality tools.
Can you use your irons with smoothing treatment?
Can you use our irons with smoothing treatments? Absolutely. Absolutely you can. Definitely. I use them for our smoothing treatments.
Yeah, it'll go up to 450 if you use it.
Yep. So there is that's my Sydney. That's her hair too.
Oh.
That's her dude, man. She's serious. Do me a favor. Just want to do just a little test here. If you can tell me what you see when you see this, okay? Tell me what you see right away. Just say it really loud, okay? What do you see? Flamingo. What? You saw two people? You saw two people? You saw one person? Now you see, okay, now you see one person. Started early, okay, girl. Right, so look, first of all, just my show of hands, who saw a flamingo? Right, when you first look at it, yeah? So, because it's supposed to be what you see first, but when you really look at it a little bit deeper, a little longer, you see that there's a person there, right? Actually, that person is Robert Reed. He's the founder and owner of Ergo Tools.
Mm-hmm.
I was like that for 6 hours. Didn't
that guy's
didn't
amazing.
want to know it.
I want this Kardashian. Or I want this, I want Beyonce. Oh my gosh, here we go. Right? So when we see that, for us it's about training our brains so we can recreate it. Right? We can make those things happen because the clients aren't so great with their communication because they don't really know what we do. Right? So look at, when you see photos like this, I mean think about it. We like to break down hair, these 3 different elements. If you're taking notes, write this down. This will change your game. Right, so when it comes to the way that we look at hair, we want to see what is the silhouette. So look at her hair, right? And if you're farther away, it's even better, right? Because now you're looking at the outside of her hair, the silhouette of it, right? The silhouette is how curved or set away from the head form it is. Maybe it comes into the head, maybe it's straight, maybe it's a combination. Right? But that's her silhouette. We want to think and we have an understanding of what that is. The next element is texture. So you may have a client like this, or see a photo like this, right? This texture is changing all the way through, right? What do you mean by texture? Well, texture is how straight, wavy, curly the hair is, whatever the hair is doing, right? If the hair is doing the nene, the hair is doing the nugget, whatever, that's what it's doing, that's what its texture is. Whether it's natural or you recreate it, it's artificial. Lastly, we want to look at the perimeter. We consider the perimeter the ends. Like, look at her ends, right? They are floating. Probably because there's a big industrial fan right here, you know, like that. Or Beyonce has like 6 of them lined up on the stick, you know? So, and then everything's perfect, yeah. So, but the ends are her fringe. The ends are her ends as they're floating. We want to make sure we see all 3 of those elements. Gentlemen, so what do you got? So, his lace waves are cool. Look at that. It's beautiful. Normally that's iron work, but if you do it with your brush, go from wet to dry, it lasts longer. Corey, how'd you get that, man?
I use our diamond head on the sides. When you're using it to create a little bit of some, movement in the hair, you want to make sure that you get the base dry first, so you kind of, like you're flat wrapping it just to kind of control it. We know that the more the hair moves and bounces around, the more fuzzy it's going to look. So we don't want it to move a ton. So with the brush, you can kind of control that little section. If I'm going to pre-dry, I'm going to do that section by section as I work my way through the head, through the different sections. So each subsection is going to be done on its own. It's really important when you're drying to make sure that you're pushing all of that moisture out of the hair, from the base through the ends. If there's any moisture left, anything you're creating isn't going to last because, that moisture's there kind of breaking those hydrogen bonds again. So that's what we're kind of manipulating. You can really manipulate hair to do anything as long as you're controlling it and you have a purpose. Anytime you work, move with a purpose. So on the sides, I just kind of broke it up. You could do this with our paddle brush also. It doesn't give it as much of a bend, but you can do the entire section, one go. So it creates enough tension. When I come through it, I'll pre-groom it after I get that base dry. And I'm going to direct the airflow of my dryer down the bristles. So as I work my way out, I'm going to elevate it to whatever kind of elevation I'm going to get. Granted, we're working with vertical subsections. Horizontals would give us that pop. So it could be smart to even go through with a round brush, dry the base first to get that base established, and then come through with a paddle if you wanted. I pre-groom it, get all the hair moving the same way. I'm going to set the hair into my bristles, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to set it over, and I'm going to start rotating my brush. The way that they're designed, we have these little edges on the brush, which are nice. I use them to change the pitch or kind of just tilt my brush so I don't have to move my wrist as much. I want to just kind of be as nice to my body as possible. So as I work my way through, the airflows here, and I just turn it like pretty much once. I let the edge here that's rounded on the side of our brush to kind of create the wave. So being silicone in the back, the brush stays pretty cool, so it's starting to cool it too on the same time. So I'm pulling a little bit of heat out, so it's going to speed up that dry or that setting time. But you just dry, directing airflow here. If you don't feel like you're getting enough tension, you can even use your thumb. So if I have a thinner section where I'm not getting the tension that I feel like I need, I just set my thumb on the other side, and now I have all the tension I need to do whatever. So as you rotate it, you kind of just allow the hair to slide through as you're directing airflow here. Using your thumb is really important towards the ends, because the ends they start falling apart. So you can kind of control that. And then afterwards, you want to season it. And when we say season, we're talking about just kind of putting our fingers into the hair. The reason this is important, this is going to create shine, because the cuticle is what we're elevating with the heat. So if we come through and that cuticle is still heated, we have natural oils on our hands. In the salon, you could put a light, like super light product of oil of some sort on, and as you come through, you're laying that cuticle down. So you're going to get even smoother, higher shine, more humidity resistant finish. And then you can just set it wherever you want it.
Cool.
To set it, you just kind of grab the bottom and pick it straight up.
Yeah.
And then set it here, because we want it to continue to be loose.
Awesome. Give him a hand for that, right?
Yes.
Again, working from wet to dry, you can do anything you want. Don't you guys do this already with your clients? Something that they're looking for, but probably have to use an iron or a wand, right, and come back and make that happen. So the cool thing is that you can do this. You can also demonstrate with your clients how to do this on their hair. What do you got cooking?
So I'm doing some S waves with the smoothing iron, and there's two different approaches to this. So what you're going to do is called a push wave, because you're going to push the hair into the iron. You're going to kind of feed it. So you're going to grab a horizontal section, again, not too thick, kind of make sure that you can see the Ergo logo through it. You're just going to take it and slowly push it and just see which direction that hair wants to go. And you're just going to tap it. And then you're just going to keep feeding it in. And you'll just see it just naturally kind of wants to go back and forth. Kind of almost gives it just kind of like that classic, almost like a finger wave type look, but with iron. And so that's the first one, is just to kind of tap it. So they're more like, I guess, defined and they get skinnier at the bottom. But if you want to play with it a little bit, you can actually kind of use like the click and drag technique in a different way. So here I'm going to feed it. I'm going to see where the bend is right here. I'm going to clap down, but I'm also going to push out. And then as I move down, it's going to come back.
Bags, because I have color all over. Chris and I did a class in Iowa, and we went from like an airplane to a rental car to the class, and all my dress clothes were soaked because I left water in a water bottle. So I'm starting to learn to pack really well. But it made me realize that while stuff is in my bag, I know that the people at the airlines, they do a great job, but they don't really care about what's in my bags. So I'm traveling, they're throwing my luggage onto a plane, right? So that means everything in it's getting bumped around. If my iron isn't taken care of and closed, different items are going to be pressed on it. And over time, it's just going to break. So it'll start, kind of failing. Yeah. So that cap is awesome.
And also, the end of the cords also have the little Velcro strap on it.
Thank you guys for spending your morning with us this morning, but I also would love for our guy, the brush father, to come on up and say a couple words to you guys before we get out of here. So, would you please welcome the founder of Ergo Styling Tools, Mr. Robert Reed?
Yes.
Hey.
It's always great to return to the Long Beach show. This is my 40th. So I don't know why you come to the show, but I imagine it's because you're seeking inspiration, right? Working every day, serving guests, at the end of each day, after serving guests, who serves you? And that's our purpose at Ergo. We realize hairdressing is a fantastic profession, but it can take a toll on your body. It's a very tough physical job. So everything we do is focused on helping hairdressing be easier, faster, and ultimately, as Shannon shared earlier, I'm sure, more rewarding. If you love education, how would you like it if Ergo could help send you, everyone in this room, to London for a week at your favorite academy? Hotel, food, magnificent food, I hope, and for you to go to any academy you wish. How would you like that?
Absolutely.
We can do that. If you love Ergo, and how many here already love Ergo? All right, well, thank you very much. You guys have already made my weekend. If you love Ergo, your guest wants to understand how to recreate their hairstyle at home. And you may not know this, but we're proud of this. We're a true professional partner. You can't find Ergo in a beauty supply. You can't find Ergo in a store. You shouldn't be able to find Ergo on an Amazon or an eBay, although I checked this morning. 4 offers for Ergo on eBay, pardon me, on Amazon, and all of them were in excess of retail price that you could sell it for. So if you had one guest today who said, I love Ergo, could I take that home? You'd make about $20. That's $100 a week if you work 5 days a week. It's over $5,000 for the year. Do you think you could get to London on $5,000? No. Good news is, once you return, you could actually write it off and do it again. And if you don't have time to travel, the same story could help you fund an education for your children. Because $5,000 a year in an educational account, it could be $50,000, $60,000 by the time they're selecting in college. Could that help? There's so many ways that Ergo can help contribute to a better life for you beyond standing behind a chair with such inspiring education, techniques, but it's also about your own prosperity and living a better life. We would love to explore and share that with you in your visit to our exhibit downstairs. If there are salon owners here, we do visit salons and provide in-salon hands-on education anywhere in North America. So the same type of inspirational education that Shannon, Corry, and Chris are presenting to you can be yours in your salon. So you can go through that experience. We're so proud you're here at the show seeking inspiration and that many of you have chosen Ergo as a professional partner. We hope to see you at our exhibit and get your hands into some hair. Okay, so thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Awesome. So what do you think? You get some ideas?
Awesome, yes.
Yeah? Cool, that's why we're here. And our booth number is booth number 827, right? Put that in your notes, just so you got it, to come and see us. And in fact, we're gonna make sure you guys don't forget it. It's on here, we have something for you guys. Somebody earlier asked me by the way, what this is. Somebody was like, what is that? Huh?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's your lucky day.
So look, where's the blow dryer? You ever get blow drying and you get stuck? You're like, because you need your hands, or you do this one?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, bro, lady in Chicago again. What's up with Chicago?
You guys are weird, man. I don't know why. So we had a class where so the girl was blow drying, okay, like this, and every section she would do this.
Hello?
But she was good at it.
We have lots
That's
of
what I was mad because she was good at it. Like she was like,
It's like she's going to burn her neck.
So we were working on, so we just figured out, look, if I had this pretty cool tool, it'll save me some time. If I can do this, I can just go like that, keep my blow dryer running, get my hands back, keep going. So I blow dryer saves you about,
Dry time a lot. And we do
Yeah.
hair like in weird spots all the time, I feel like.
yeah, so always got a place to go. So
That's
if you guys
awesome.
are interested in
Hotel
those,
rooms, there's
see me
no
after
tray.
class and I can help you get those up. They're easy, all right? Thank you guys so much. We do have a gift for you guys. And if you'll just see, actually we'll start passing them out, so make sure you have them.